I'd like to thank the members of the Princeton Committee and Development Director Ngozi for this honor. I also want to thank fellow honoree John Harmon for acknowledging me earlier. I don't see him in the room anymore, but John was one of the very first people to support my efforts as it relates to starting my business. And the joke I had set up is going to fall a little flat because I was going to say I want to compete with him. I have a minister at my table. And I want to acknowledge the folks at my table, including a new associate, Dr. Bob Goldsboro, who I have learned is a graduate of the Tuskegee School of Veterinary Medicine. So Tuskegee is well represented in the room based on Mr. Bowen. I also want to, of course, acknowledge my family, including my daughters, my mother-in-law, my friends, there she is, my friends, as well as my colleagues, and of course, last but certainly not least, Tammy Smith. And you know, if I start talking about Tammy, I'm not going to do that. It's funny that you start out with a business relationship with someone, and they end up being your friend. And Tammy's drive and vision inspires me every single day. And to be able to work on this passion project of hers in Newark, John Harmon actually introduced us on an Amtrak train as we were going to support his installation as the president, president or chair of the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce. And he told me that there was another woman that he wanted us to meet, and meet shortly after. I thought it was maybe because our names rhymed, because we both like to talk. But she told me about her dream of creating the Dunbar Center, which is a passion project. Her brother developed kidney failure in his 30s, and African-American men in their 30s are the fastest growing population of kidney failure patients. She has this vision of creating a patient-centered dialysis center in communities of color across the country. It's starting in Newark. We're acquiring the land from the city of Newark, and I'm absolutely honored that I'm able to work with her every day as a project manager. So again, I tried to say that without crying. You know, I have spent the last 12 years of my career focused on economic development, and the UNCF calls itself an education organization. Well, I'll make an argument that it actually is an economic development organization as well. You know, on the drive up here, I was telling my daughters, who I'm sure are over the moon that they get to go, they usually don't get to go to these sort of things with me. I was telling them that an African-American man with an associate's degree has less chance of getting a job as a white male high school dropout. Okay? It's that 4-year degree that takes them within closing that employment gap. Black men within 5%, black women within 3%. So that's sort of positive, and tell everybody that education is the great equalizer, right? That's always what we've been told, that we, of course, as African Americans have to outperform. My late mother taught me. Well, earlier this year, that theory was somewhat debunked as well. There was a study that came out that said that African Americans who have degrees still lag behind when it comes to black wealth development. And they believe there's a reason for that. And that reason for that is, of course, we do not start with the same level of wealth in our families. So we have to take on more student debt. And we are laden with student debt. And so when I heard earlier that, and I appreciated the remarks from the Princeton Committee, that they have given over $350,000. That's $350,000 if these students did not have to take on a student debt. So anybody who knows, anyone who knows when you pay back, you have a credit card, you have a mortgage, you know that you don't pay back dollar for dollar. In fact, I deferred my student loans, and deferment sounds like a great thing, but your interest still accumulates. So that $350,000 represents multiples in terms of what they could not have So that's my argument for why UNCF is an economic empowerment organization. And I might recommend that you add that, what your branding as well. And so I want to thank the UNCF, the Princeton Committee, for recognizing me for my work. And thank you all for listening to all of our speeches. I feel like we all have some point that we'd like to make, but I definitely wanted to make the point that education is an economic endeavor as well. Thank you.